Hello, Scorpio, and welcome to Indigo Rising Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you're having a great day. This will be your weekly reading for the week of November 23rd through the 29th. And during that time, we'll have a waxing crescent moon, and that is a time of heightened senses, a really good time to buckle down and get to work on those things that you've just started on the new moon. We then move into the first quarter moon on the 28th, which I call it's kind of like a little mini full moon, that kind of energy where you might feel a little impulsive, impatient. Maybe your mind's a little active. It's hard to settle down and get anything done that day. So, or you can be just highly energized. That's really how I take that. I just get really energized, and also I probably can't buckle down, but um, just keep those moon energies in mind. Now, of course, the 28th is right after Thanksgiving. Also, happy Thanksgiving on the 27th. So hopefully you don't have to work. If you do, just know that you just might be full of energy that day, and that's not a bad thing. So this will be an intuitive general reading, Scorpio. So as always, please take what resonates today and leave what doesn't on the table for someone else. And your overall message for this particular reading: adjustments are required. Okay, let's see what the Scorpio Collective has going on and what you guys need to make adjustments on. As I'm shuffling the tarot, I would like to say that my fun weekly reminder this week is that you try to get yourself out into nature. So find a park or a trail that you like to hike, or maybe even find a new one. You might explore something new, but just get out in nature a little bit. Maybe find a place where you can listen to some water, maybe feed some animals. If you have a little duck pond somewhere, where there's some ducks that you can feed, goose, that sort of thing. Anyway, just get out and try to just really focus and enjoy and just kind of relax into the miracle of nature and just really try to enjoy this week. Better try to do that before winter if you're in a place where winter starts to hit. Let's get some time outside before that happens. So anyway, that's just my fun weekly reminder for you. All right, let's get into this reading, Scorpio. November 23rd through the 29th. Adjustments are required. Let's see why. We're going to take that card that came right out on top. Current energy, Page of Wands. So looks like some sort of new path in something that you're very passionate about. This could be a newly formed passion that you've just kind of discovered about yourself. Hopefully, all of us are always discovering things that, like, oh, I didn't realize how much I liked fill in the blank, and it's kind of a new discovery, and it's very nice as you're along your path, like, oh, maybe the confidence to do something that you didn't think you could do before, and it just gives you that little, like, you're like, oh, okay, I can be confident about this. So whatever that might be for you, it looks like you're kind of in that discovery mode, that new path mode. Your present situation is that you're buckling down and getting some work done here with the Eight of Pentacles. So I always see this guy as so into his work and so into what he's doing. And I don't mean this in like work, like your job, maybe. It could be this thing you're passionate about, but I see this guy as those moments where you're just really in the moment, and I hope you're able to find that in your life. I know for me, that can be music. I've been a musician all of my life and playing with a band, and there's just a rhythm that you get into, and all of a sudden just the rest of the world melts away, and the only thing that matters is playing that song, or just being in that moment. And I really see this as this kind of card. It's just being so in the moment. I do this too, like when I like to do crafting and stuff. So if I'm in the middle of a project, it's like just the rest of the world melts away, and you could probably yell my name and I wouldn't hear you because I'm just so into what I'm doing. So that's kind of how I see this card. And this could be this thing that you're newly passionate about. And it could be, it could be something as simple as a craft, or something as, bigger, something like, maybe working out or taking up an instrument, some sort of art. So, it looks like whatever this new passion it is that you're finding, it has that ability to put you in the moment, which is such a gift. It's such a wonderful thing, I think, to have in your life. At the root of your situation is the Nine of Cups. So definitely taking a little bit of time to maybe indulge in this passion. This could be something where, maybe things have slowed down a little bit for you, and you've had some extra time to kind of, to indulge in that. We always don't have the time to do the things that we love to do or things that we're passionate about. But every once in a while, life just makes a way, and it's like, oh, my calendar's clear this week, maybe the next couple of weeks, and I have some time to put towards this. So looks like you're indulging in that with this, whatever this passion is of yours. In your recent past, is looking towards the future here with the Two of Wands. So, this is your, it looks like you've made some sort of achievement, and maybe in the past you've decided, am I going to stay here where I am, or am I going to make some changes? So maybe you have made some changes in the passion realm. Maybe you're fine where you are in other parts of your life, but you thought, there's something that I'm missing. This could be even something from your past. I used to play guitar every day for an hour, and I haven't really done that lately. So maybe you're picking that guitar back up. I used to paint. I just feel like it's something. Of course, I use the arts because that's just so where my mind goes, arts and crafts and that sorts of thing. Because I love creation, I love to create things. But whatever that is for you, it could be going to the gym. Like I said, it could be that I used to love to lift weights, and I haven't done it in a while. I'm going to get to the gym and get those weights up in the air. So whatever that is for you, it looks like you're in a place where you're, like, again, kind of your calendar's cleared, and you're in a good place right now. What is on your mind right now is the Strength card. So are you strong enough to do this? Again, I just mentioned weights. That's kind of funny that the Strength card comes up, but this also is about inner strength. And it is about, if you have to make the time sometimes, when life gets really busy, it's hard to make time for certain things. Let me put this camera down so you can see those cards. But yeah, sometimes it's hard to make time for certain things. And it looks like you're just being strong enough to do it. And you're kind of putting yourself first and saying, you know what, I am going to do this. I'm going to do this thing, and I'm going to put some time towards it. What is just ahead of you this week? Lots of choices here with the Seven of Cups. So just make sure you're making the right choices. Whenever we're presented with choices, and I always say choice is a luxury. It's a luxury to have different choices and to be able to make choices. Some people can't. Some people are kind of stuck in a place where choices are kind of decided for them, or their choices are just so small. So when your choices expand, just make sure you're choosing the right things. Will you choose a healthy choice? Will you choose something that's good for you mentally? So just making sure you're making the right choices here when you have so many to choose from, and also be grateful that you have that many choices to have available for you. In your advice position is the Three of Swords here. So some sort of disappointment, maybe. Maybe something doesn't quite work out for you. And this could also just be a mental disappointment. And, I see this as like, I mentioned maybe picking up your guitar, and you used to play an hour a day, and you haven't. Life has been busy and crazy. And all of a sudden you decide, I am going to pick it back up. And maybe at first you're a little bit rusty, your hands aren't quite sure, your calluses are gone on your fingers, and you're like, oh, and you kind of feel bad about it. That's kind of what I feel about this, is like, understand that disappointment is normal and very common, and something you're going to have to work through. But this goes through the heart, but it's also kind of a mental disappointment, and maybe you're disappointed in yourself. And because this is in your advice position, I think it's just kind of a warning, like, hey, whatever this is for you, you might feel a little disappointment, but the warning is about continuing on. Like, don't let that get in your way and be a roadblock for you. Go ahead and push through. Pick up that guitar tomorrow when your fingers don't feel great, when those calluses are starting to rebuild, and the day after, because it makes your fingers sore. So again, that's just an example, but whatever it is that you're feeling a little disappointed in yourself about, try to push through that, because that will go away as you get more and more successful with it. What is beyond your control this week is the Queen of Wands. So, this is about really an understanding about the passion, and understanding what makes a passion important. We can go through our life and some people never find the thing that they're really passionate about. And that's what I said. You're lucky if you have choice. You're also lucky if you are passionate about something. Many people just go through and they don't have that thing. I know that I feel like for me, I found it very early with music. A lot of people in my life are kind of connected to the arts and that sort of thing. And sometimes that's the thing that people do find a little bit early. But there's so many passions and so many things out there that it's and the queen is about understanding that, and understanding not only your passion and how important and what a gift it is to add that to your life and have that in your life. And look around. Some people do not have a passion at all, and I think, what do you do with your spare time? Are you watching TV? Like, what is it that people that don't have a passion, what do you do with that time? And I hope it's not spent on electronics. I really do. Ugh, I mean, here I am doing videos on YouTube, but you know what I mean? People like kind of doom scrolling on the phone, that sort of thing. I hope that if you get stuck in that, that you can put that down for a little bit and remember what used to make life so exciting for you. What was that thing that you just couldn't wait to do? So the Queen of Wands is about kind of the understanding about passion and the understanding of how important it is in a person's life. What is your secret desire or what you're trying to avoid? Is that final push through here with the 10 of Wands. So, this is just pushing through to some sort of ending. And what do we say about endings is there's a beginning right beyond it, right? As soon as you're ending through something or just pushing, maybe you're just pushing again that work to kind of get it through, like I said, to build those calluses back up, to maybe build those weights back up, the thing, and just to be strong again at the thing that you do. And I'm going to go back to this initial card, which is adjustments are required. And I'm going to say that probably has to do with this disappointment that, yeah, if you haven't done this for a while, you're a little creaky, you're a little squeaky at it, whatever. Imagine if you don't lift weights for a while and you pick up that weight and say, oh, that's really, you might have to adjust down on the weight machines if you're using machines. Oh, I can't do the whatever weight might be. I may need to pull that back 5 or 10 pounds until I can get myself strong again to do that. But make those adjustments and make sure you're just pushing through. I feel like I said, it's some sort of ending, some sort of goal that you have in mind, and it's beyond it's either your secret desire or to push through to get to that goal, or you're trying to avoid it. So you need to ask yourself that question this week. In your outcome is, look, more wands. And this is a great card because it's a card of kind of being celebrated by your community. So I feel like someone is going to notice the hard work that you're putting in, what you've been doing, how you've been improving. I feel like someone will probably make a comment about that. Someone in your community, in your immediate area is going to say, hey, I see you, I notice what you're doing. And I really do love that. We're going to look at the numerology since I feel like we did have a couple of repeats. I see 88. And no, that was it. So there's an 88 on here. I want you to look up angel number 88 and see if that means anything in your current situation. It might be just some little extra words of wisdom or guidance for you. All right, what is hidden from you this week, Scorpio? Is the 10 of Pentacles. So this is about, really thinking about things long term. Like I said, this one, you're kind of pushing through, and I can see why this would be hidden from you. Like, let's get through the short term. I feel like, again, that this is kind of a renewed passion for you. It's something that maybe you haven't participated in a while. Let's not, that long term goal, you've got these short term goals. I feel like just to kind of eke through and again, get through the pain, get through the disappointment that you're kind of behind because you put it down for a while, but we're not really going to be thinking about super long-term goals yet. I wouldn't be surprised to see this in the next couple of weeks pop up in your reading as something that is on your mind, that you're going to kind of push through this first part of this and get to a place where, okay, if I can continue this, there is some longevity to it. So, all right, let's get a final message here from the Soul Oracle deck. Final word for Scorpio for this from the Soul Oracle deck. And your card is work with devotion. So put your head down. Again, get in the moment there. Get the thing accomplished. Do the thing. Put your head down. Concentrate. Focus. And I think that's kind of beyond your control this week. I think you will really want to do that and almost find yourself accidentally doing that, which is great. All right. What does Scorpio need to do in the way of self-care this week? And this card right here really wants to come out, so we will take it. Patience is the card that comes out. It's safe to wait. It is safe to wait. So, I feel like the patience probably comes here. I feel like I'm feeling that you're going to have a little bit of frustration again. Because when you don't do something for a while and you get back at it, you do feel a little bit rusty, a little bit slow at it, a little bit less coordinated, whatever it is that you're doing, whether it be physical or mental. You could be a writer and maybe you're just having a little bit of writer's block there. Something because you're just not into that routine. But I feel like once you get going, it is really going to kick off. And at some point you will be thinking about the long-term benefits of starting this passion back up. So, Scorpio, thank you so much for being here. I do hope there was something in this reading that you can take away and use in your week this week. If you're comfortable sharing, of course, drop me a comment down below. Is there some new passion that you've recently kind of rekindled? Something that you're doing that you're kind of new at, maybe a little rusty at, but trying to get better. If you care to share, drop a comment down there. I'd love to hear from you. Also, if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer those questions for you. If you like my reading style, please hit the like and subscribe button. It really helps my channel. But most importantly, Scorpio, it'll help you find me next week where we can see if this energy continues or if there's a completely new story here for you next week. So thanks so much, Scorpio. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.